Good morning and welcome back to Rain or Shine Gardening. I'm Katie, and today is the last day of June, which means I need to record a garden tour. And even though this is going to be posted in July, the video was taken in June, so it is truly a June garden tour. But I wanted to show some of my front yard garden to document the progress that we have made since the springtime. And a lot of this progress has actually been made this month, in the month of June. We've really made a lot of progress with our garden bed expansion project, putting in our new brick border and creating new garden beds using the sheet mulching method with cardboard and compost on top of that, and just getting a lot of new pretty things planted and really getting to that cozy cottage style garden that I'm going for. So I'm going to take you along and show you some of the things that are growing and blooming and some of our progress that we've made here in the front garden today. I have my cup of coffee because it is early. The birds are starting to sing. The sun is starting to come up. It's going to be a really warm summer day here in the Portland, Oregon area, Garden Zone 8B. The birds are singing. I'm going to walk you around my garden and show you what we have here. All right, first I'm going to start down here by my sidewalk. You'll see this is the front of our house. We've got a brick border all the way along the front. And I have a garden bed that I expanded a little bit here on this end. It used to be really narrow, but we took out some of the grass and then some dahlias down here in front. And you'll see my bubblegum supertunia and some supertunia Bordeaux on the other side. And my dahlias are getting very big. I've been pinching these so you'll see how nice and bushy they are, and they're getting ready for me to stake them pretty soon. We're not too far off from that. And I am going to use a different staking method this year. I'm going to do a single pole and then tie the dahlias to that pole. So we're going to see how that works. Last year I used some cages and they were just really hard to kind of manage, and I don't feel like they provided the best support. So this year we're going to do something a little bit different. We'll probably post a video when we get those installed. I have some supertunia silverberry and then a superbena right next to it. And I really like these light, cool color flowers here in the bed. I do have these two tall gauras that are here in my front bed as well, and they usually get really tall. I planted them a few years ago now, and this is really the definition of seeing that perennial leap because it is huge. And I really like them. I do provide a lot of support to them because once it rains, they tend to really flop. So I do have some cages around them so that they will stay upright. But they are really pretty when we get some wind down here in the front area of the yard. They really kind of sway in the wind and they're really pretty out here in front. You will notice in a lot of my beds, I have a lot of repeating plants, and one of my favorites is this catmint nepeta, and I have a lot of different varieties of it. I haven't done a great job of keeping track of those varieties, but I do have them repeating. I have also my annuals repeating, so you'll see the silverberry is here again. I have some ipomea, which is a sweet potato vine, and it's that bright chartreuse color, and then I've got a darker one here too that I've also kind of sprinkled around the garden. So one of the ways that I achieve my cottage theme is to repeat a lot of these same color and same annuals around the garden. And then my Chinese dogwood is here, and I just showed that in a video too because I just purchased this flowering plum. It's a thundercloud flowering plum, and I'm going to plant that kind of where it's sitting now to provide a little bit of shade for my Chinese dogwood. I do have a lot of lamb's ear, and you'll see people don't usually plant it for the blooms, but look at this bloom stalk. Isn't that funky? It's got these kind of purple flowers on the stalk. This one has fallen over because we had some rain. So I usually clip those off, but this year I left it because it was really interesting looking. I love the lamb's ear. I did take some starts of it, and I put it in some other places in my yard too. Here is my other Gara, and this is the one on the other side of the bed. So kind of moving along, you'll see those repeats again. We've got a couple bubble gum, some ipomea, and some silverberry, and then another dahlia here. And around the top of this swoop, I also have more dahlias. So I have those, instead of doing a cut flower garden in rows, I definitely sprinkled them in to my existing garden. So I will cut from them, but they will be a part of my full garden. So moving this way, I've got a little step to be able to get over this garden bed into the grass area. So again, the repeating, we've got that dark ipomea that's really starting to take off. It's getting some size here, and some more bubblegum and some more dahlias. So those are growing up. I think I have a bloom that I spied the other day. Yep, there's the first dahlia bloom. So it shouldn't be too much later this week probably, and that will get to blooming. I've got a couple hostas here. Hostas are very much a shade plant, but these were planted by the previous owner in our house, and they have been really small in years past. But this area is very much sloped up to our front door. And I think what's happening is, as we're feeding this garden bed, all of the fertilizer and the water is just running right down to these. So they are absolutely loving where they're at. I do recognize as we get some warmer days, they're probably going to start burning a little bit and maybe not look so great. But right now, they are really pretty, and they're getting so many blooms on them. I know a lot of people clip those off because they don't prefer the hosta blooms, but they're really pretty lavender color, and it goes with my garden bed color, so I might just leave them. All right, walking up into my yard now on the side of the garden bed, you'll see that we have, again, some repeats, but I do have this really pretty hardy geranium here, cranesbill, and this is an apple blossom variety, and I really like the pale pink flowers on this one. And it bloomed pretty early spring, and you'll see that it's going to be coming out with more blooms now. So I really like that. I have that in other areas of the bed. I've got a little patch of it here, and then another one that's blooming quite a bit right up here at the top of this bed. And I've got some impatiens that are blooming a light pink, and some nepeta. I've got a boxwood in here and a peony. A couple peonies that I bought on a clearance rack last year, and they did not bloom this year, but I have fingers crossed that next year they will be blooming and look really great. I've got a lilac there, and then my lamb's ear is absolutely exploding. I don't know if you can see that from this side, but it is really getting big, and that repeats here in the bed as well. Got a little miniature ginkgo, and then a really pretty lavender rose here. And this is one that we got a start from my husband's grandma's garden. So she had passed away, and they were getting ready to prepare the house to sell. And we were kind of talking about things that we would like to maybe inherit or have. And some of her roses were definitely on my list. So this one's really pretty, and I love the color. Again, it really goes with all the colors and the scheme that I'm looking for here. So everything is just really in bloom. I'm getting ready to cut back a lot of my catmint, my nepeta here, because it is just going out of bloom now. My lupin bloomed and looked really great, but as lupin does, it's getting that powdery mildew. So I might do a cutback pretty soon on that, because it's just starting to kind of take it over. I did harvest a lot of the pods for seed, so I'll be able to plant more of that. Got a lot of hostas here on this side leading up to the front door that are absolutely blooming their heads off. So pretty soon those will be ready to cut back as well, but they're pretty much in their prime bloom right now. In this bed, more hostas in front here. You'll see all those blooms. And we've got some peonies that are done blooming now and some more hardy geranium that's down in here. And this is my little lime hydrangea standard, and it is going to be blooming pretty soon. The buds for the blooms are just now forming up. So you see they're going to get big and bloom kind of a green chartreuse, and then they'll turn white. And then if we don't get too hot and if they don't fry, we will see some pretty pink color on those. In the back there, you'll see a hydrangea, and that's a bluebird hydrangea, and it has some really pretty blooms on it. Almost some butterfly looking petals on the flowers. And then the middle is kind of a lacy color or a lacy style. So this is the area we've been working on a lot this year, and specifically in the last month, we've made a lot of progress. So coming around from my front yard, this is kind of our side fence area, and we expanded this bed way out into the yard further, and it now goes around the snowball tree, kind of tucked back in there, and we have a new arbor. We also posted a video showing how we moved our hose link out further into the yard so we don't have to pull the hose over top of flowers. And it's in a good place there now. It's really convenient to pull it out and set up a sprinkler if I need to, or just to access the hose. So I really like where that's located now. In this garden bed, I have a lot of repeats again. I have my superbena, I have my sweet potato vine, my ipomea, that bright chartreuse color, and then silverberry right here. I did sprinkle in some evergreens, some conifers in here too. So I will have to work on my winter interest, but I really like how this bed turned out. Got a lot of the cool color scheme going on in this bed. And we did get this flagstone to add in for our pathway. Before, we had made a very small wooden slat pathway, and the weeds had kind of grown up through it, and it was very small. So when we expanded this garden bed, we knew we needed something bigger. So we picked out this flagstone, and we still need to work on leveling up some of the stones and kind of filling in around them so it's easier to walk on. But right now we just placed it so that we knew where to plant things around it. In the back of this bed, I do have some black-eyed Susans that are coming back. And then I have a big Daphne bush that's just going out of bloom. And this is my cherry tree right here. And then just a lot of really pretty cottagey looking things. We've got that Gara that we had down front. Some more silverberry and nepeta over here. Some lemon coral sedum that's really liking the sunshine. And some echinacea that's really tall, some coneflower. You can see the blooms on those. The bees really love these. They'll come sit and just soak in the pollen from those. I did move my bird bath here, and I do notice a lot of our wildlife really likes having that here in the yard. A lot of birds like to take a little pit stop here in the garden. We've got zinnias here, the white ones. I usually stray from planting white flowers because I don't like how the blooms immediately turn brown once they're done. But these tend to stay really nice for a long time. So walking through this back or side garden area, I guess, from the front, you'll see the garden bed expansion we did for this island under our snowball viburnum tree. This area of the island garden bed, I have a hydrangea that is a little lime hydrangea, and it is going to be blooming in the next probably month or two as well. It's budding up. A lot of my lavender in this bed is blooming. It's really pretty right now. It's in full bloom. We've got kind of a variegated lavender as well. It's going to be starting to bloom soon. And in this pathway on the right hand side, I have a lot of shade loving plants. I have a hydrangea that's blooming here in the back, really pretty blue color, and this hosta bloom as well. All of my hostas are in full bloom right now. and a rhododendron that blooms pink in the spring, and it is done. You can see the blooms, spent blooms, that probably need to get in and trim this back. It's getting really big. And this is the pathway and arbor that leads to my backyard, and I will try to get a backyard garden tour filmed probably in the month of July. We just got done hosting our first garden party in the backyard, so I will during that tour video share a couple clips from that event as well. It was really fun. So this is the back area. I do have, or of my side yard, I do have a fountain that is getting overtaken by my grape. So this arbor here has a green seeded grape on the right hand side that goes over the trellis, and you can see it is just really trying to reach out. I've done a little bit of pruning on it, but it does have quite a bit of fruit this year. So pretty excited that we will get to try some recipes and try to make something with it. It's probably the most fruit that it's ever had. And on this side of the arbor, we have a red seedless grape. So these are definitely better for picking and eating. And it also has quite a bit of fruit. Very small, but you'll see some different bunches of grapes on there. So we're really excited that the grapes seem to be doing really well this year. I've got a bunch of hellebores planted back here. I got those on clearance one year. So a couple years ago, I found those and picked them up and got them planted back over here. So those are nice in early January, but they're definitely out of bloom now. So my fountain, like I said, is kind of hiding back here. This provides a lot of really nice sound for us in the garden here on the side, but also in our backyard. And right now I am under the apple tree. Let me try to get an angle where you can see it. We planted it when it was just a tiny little sapling. It was probably only 12 inches tall, and it has grown quite a bit now since we planted it here. This year is not a super great year for apples. We don't have very many on the tree, but you'll see a couple bunches of fruit up there. So it's a year that we're hoping that it focuses on a lot of root development and health. We try to make sure to get this sprayed every year with dormant oil and with copper in the dormant months, so it is healthy for the year. But this year we just didn't get much fruit. So looking this way towards my garden, you'll see that island garden bed and that front area with the flagstone pathway. And then we have a really pretty hydrangea that's coming into bloom. And this one, I don't know the variety because I inherited it from my grandma. So before she had to move out of our house, we were able to get some of her plants. And this hydrangea is just looking really pretty. It's doing well now. We did initially have it planted on a clay sloped full sun area. And before I was really kind of into gardening, I just couldn't figure out what was wrong with my hydrangea. It wasn't doing well. Then I did a little research eventually and found out it likes a lot of water, so the slope wasn't great. And then it likes a little bit more protection from the sun, so the full sun area also wasn't great. But it's doing really well here now, obviously loving its life. This is how big it is. So you see all those blooms. It's so pretty. Just starting to bloom, so it's going to get even more beautiful. In this corner here, I have a climbing rose on this fence, and it has struggled with black spot, so it actually doesn't have a lot of leaves right now because I've taken off a lot of those leaves that were infected. And it is out of bloom now. I'll try to see if I can find a picture of when it was in bloom. It was really pretty red, and I also got this rose from my grandma. And a little bench and a table that I inherited from my aunt and uncle. And it needs another repainting job, but it's doing well in this little corner of the garden. I like putting little seating areas in here and there. So you'll see again, I have more dahlias placed here in my beds. My biggest pest in my bed has been the slugs. We really struggle with slugs. We have so many of them, and you'll see some slug damage on my dahlias. They will quite literally climb up to the very top of my petunias and my superbenias, and they just eat them. They love them. I counted 10 slugs on one of my supertunias on a Bordeaux the other day. 10 slugs on one plant. They were just chowing down, having a great time. So slugs are definitely what I struggle with the most. So put your slug deterrent ideas in the comments below, because I could use all the ideas. We did do one of the beer traps. We put beer in a bowl and put it kind of at ground level, and that seemed to capture quite a few of them. But I definitely need something to deter them, at least from chomping on my plants. If they want to hang out in the garden, that's fine, but give the plants a little chance. I've got some euphorbia here planted in the front of this bed. And again, my Supertunia bubblegum and my silverberry here. This is a lilac that I purchased from Andrew Seed in Ontario. And if you follow Garden Answer, you'll know that Laura's parents own that garden center. So when we go camping in Eastern Oregon, we try to make a little trip over to Ontario. It's not too far from where we go camping every year, and visit. And one year I picked up this pretty lilac. And then I've just got a couple more things sprinkled in the garden. I've got my cherry tree here. I'm going to do some topping on that so it doesn't get too tall. And then my little flagstone pathway from this direction. A couple little cypress evergreens here planted at the beginning. I do have some little lavenders that I planted along the pathway as well. So I'm hoping those will do well and grow in. They were very, very small when I planted them, and they've already put on a little bit of size. So I'm hopeful that those will do well. One of my favorite flowers that I just got is this marshmallow daisy. And I absolutely love this. It is so pretty. But these are really pretty daisies. They kind of bush out, and they do look very marshmallowy. This bloom is just about spent now, but this is what they look like when they first open, and then they get even more round and puffy like that. So I really like that one. And I've got a couple Brennera that I planted here too, because this area under the tree gets a lot of shade. And I got those on clearance. So always check out the clearance racks. There's a lot of fun things to find there at good prices. They were pretty crispy from a heat wave that we had, but all I had to do was kind of pick off the crispy leaves, and they have done really well since I got them in the ground. I think that's going to do it for today. Thanks for coming along with me on my front yard garden tour. The crows and I thank you. They're very loud and squawking this morning. But thanks for coming along with me and seeing the progress of my garden. This is June in my front garden. I'm so happy with how it's turning out. I see a lot of areas I still am working on and want to add things to, but it'll be really great to have this video as kind of a progress video to look back on. And yeah, thanks for coming along with me, rain or shine. That's our June garden tour. See you in the next one.